Hello everybody, welcome to Monday's Assembly. Happy Monday. I hope everyone had a really lovely weekend. I'm sorry it rained all day on Saturday, but hopefully we all got out and about and had some fun on Sunday. It's lovely to see you all back in school today. I know we're going to have a really positive week. Everyone show me your positive faces, please. Let's try a bit harder. Everyone show me your positive faces, please. That's slightly, but some of you in Year 6 could try a bit harder, but that's not too bad. This week, it's a Mental Health Awareness Week between the 10th and the 16th of May. Mental Health Awareness Week is about raising awareness, so raising people's understanding of mental health. Now, we've done a little bit of this before this year because there was also a Children's Mental Health Week that we joined in with. You may remember because there were some people who did some dressing up. Lots of you dressed up at home, because some of you were in lockdown and were at home learning. There were aliens and Spider-Man and all kinds of things going on. And the theme for our Children's Mental Health Week was to express yourself. And we learned about the term mental health. We know what healthy means. And mental health is not about just how physically healthy we are. It's not just about our bodies. It's about our mind and how we feel. And our mental health is just as important as our physical health. So I just wanted to remind you today, as it's Mental Health Awareness Week, of some of the things we learned before. We learned that your mental health, a really good way of staying mentally healthy and being positive and happy, is to also to look after your physical health. Getting exercise, keeping clean, brushing your teeth, going outside, spending plenty of time outside, not spending all the time indoors on your computer. If you're physically healthy, you are more likely to be mentally healthy. And if you're mentally healthy, you are more likely to be happy. And that's what we want all of us to be. So one good way of being mentally healthy is to keep fit. Get a little bit of exercise. Another way is to look after yourself through what you eat, through your diet. And here's an example here of a balanced diet. I'm not suggesting we eat all of these things at once, but it tells you how much of our diet should be carbohydrates, those foods that give you long-lasting energy. Quite a bit of your diet, look. Quite a bit of your diet. How much of our diet should be healthy foods that give us minerals and vitamins, your fruits and vegetables. Same again. Lots of those as well. A small amount of protein to help us grow. So for some of you that will be meat or fish. For others that will be nuts and seeds and pulses like lentils and things. Some dairy like milks and yogurts. Those can help our bones, help us stay healthy. And look at this tiny slither here. That's what proportion of our diet should be. Chocolates and sweets. They're very high in fat and sugar foods. Doesn't say we should never have them, but it should just say you shouldn't have them too often. Keeping our bodies healthy by watching what we eat helps to keep us mentally healthy as well. And when we are mentally healthy, we're more likely to be happy. If you ate nothing but chocolate all the time, that'd be awesome for about 3 hours. Then you'd start to feel a bit sick. And then all of that sugar in your system you'd start to feel rather groggy and tired and short-tempered. And actually, you've turned yourself from excited because of all this chocolate to really quite down and sad. So that's not good for us, is it? Sometimes you might feel like that after a birthday party or something, if you've eaten a load of cake and chocolates and sugar and sweets, and then you go home and you're all upset and you don't know why. It might be just because you're crashing after all of that sugar. So looking after our bodies is good for our mental health. Another thing that's really good for our mental health is having people to talk to. All of us encounter problems and challenges. All of us feel sad sometimes. We don't all feel happy all the time. If you think about the most positive person you know, somebody who always seems to be happy and cheerful and smiley. Mrs. Jordan at lunchtime always seems to be smiling. Mrs. Carroll in the office always seems to be happy. You can think of some children in your class who always seem, doesn't matter what's going on, always seem to have a big smile on their face. Even they feel sad sometimes. Even they have problems sometimes. And talking to people is a brilliant way of helping to get through those times that are a bit tricky. So we've had assemblies through the NSPCC before, and some of you will be able to remember who this character is on my screen. He's a full stop. He's a full stop, and his name is Buddy. And Buddy's a full stop because he wants to completely stop any children from having a bad time and being badly treated. So Buddy's got a phone number there, and that phone number is just in case you haven't got someone to talk to when you're feeling down or feeling upset about something. All of us have been asked in the past to think of an adult who we would talk to if we were feeling upset or sad or worried. Just take a moment to remember who that adult is now. Maybe it's somebody at home, maybe it's somebody at school, maybe it's somebody at a club or something else that you attend. But if you can't find an adult to talk to when you're feeling down, if you're really worried about something, then this phone number is one we all need to remember. So I want you to take a picture of that with your eyeballs now, please. And remember, if I'm really in trouble and feeling really bad, I could always phone this number. If ever I feel like I'm alone, I don't have someone I can talk to about my problems, this is the number to call. 0800 1111. 0800 1111. Take a photograph of it with your eyeballs so you always remember it. Now this year, Mental Health Awareness Week, they'd like us to think about another thing that can be really good for your mental health, and that is nature. Getting out and enjoying nature. Most of us have very busy lives. Certainly on Monday to Friday, we work at speed. As soon as you got into the classroom this morning, your teacher gave you some learning to do. As soon as my assembly finishes today, you'll be rushing on with some more learning. Then you'll be out to break, then you'll be running around with all your friends. Then you'll come back in, and as soon as your bottom hits that seat, your teacher will have some more learning for you to do again. We go really quickly. And for some of us, even at the end of the school day, we're straight home, we're out to a club, or we might go straight home and get onto the computer or one of our devices, maybe onto a tablet or to an Xbox or a PlayStation. And those things go quite fast too. Most of our games are quite quick. Most of the games you play have got problems you've got to solve really quickly, or challenges or people you've got to defeat, or goals to score. And actually, if we stay fast all the time, that can be detrimental or bad for our mental health. It's hard to slow down when you're picking up speed. And connecting with nature is a really good way of calming, slowing down and changing your perspective, getting a bit of calm into your life. Let's use a couple of our learning characters to help us learn about mental health today. Let's start with Casper Cat, who's very curious. He's very interested in things. He likes to explore and to notice things. That's a great way to behave if you're out in nature, if you're out in the woods, if you're down at the beach. Be interested in what's around you while you walk along the sand. What can you see beneath your feet? What kind of wildlife is around? What plants are growing? What's the sea doing today? Was it different from yesterday? Be curious about that nature around you. And as you ask questions and look carefully at the natural world around you, it helps your brain to switch off from some of those other challenges that we face every day. If you're walking along the beach and you're picking up shells and you're seeing what all the different ones you can find are, you're not going to be worrying about things like coronavirus or whether you've done your homework. And that's good for you to switch off at times like that. So Casper Cat can help us to be curious when we're out and about, and that's really good for our mental health. Olivia Owl's a good person to help with this too. Olivia likes to be thoughtful and patient. She reminds us that you don't have to do everything quickly. We don't have to complete every challenge as soon as it's set. And actually, when you get out there in nature, when you get outside, you go and visit the beach or the woods or the fields, when you get out there in nature, those things are moving nice and slow. You can notice the flowers growing and the leaves falling, but they're not doing it quickly and there's no rush. Olivia Owl can help us learn to keep ourselves mentally healthy too. Now, I was a little bit inspired by Casper and Olivia on my weekend just gone. So I tried to take my own advice and get out and enjoy nature, and I took Olivia Owl and Casper Cat with me. I'm going to share a little bit of that with you now. This is a beautiful place for getting connected to nature. It's so calm. I'm under the canopy of some trees. I can hear birds around me. I could hear a woodpecker just now. I couldn't see it, but I could hear a woodpecker around me. It's very peaceful. Brought a couple of friends with me. I've got, might be able to see them down there. I've got Casper Cat, because Casper Cat's particularly curious. Very curious, especially when he's outside. And when you're out with nature, there's so much to explore. It's another thing that our cat loves to do, is to explore and find out new things and to notice things. And there's so much to notice around here. If I just show you where I am now, for example, the floor is pink. And the floor is pink because these have all fallen down from the trees above me. So it's not pink all the time, it's just pink at this time of year perhaps, after the blossom has then fallen. And you don't have to look very far. Casper wouldn't have to be too curious. All he's got to do is scrape a bit of this dead living foliage away, and I've already uncovered loads and loads of mini beasts, including a spider's web inside a pine cone. All kinds of cool little mini beasts in there. I've not had to travel very far to find something like this. Olivia's with us as well. She's particularly reflective, isn't she? She's very reflective. She's also patient. She's calm. And this is a really lovely part about being outside, especially on a day like today. Just being patient and calm and being in touch with how you're feeling and your own thoughts rather than those of everybody else. I'm going to share a poem with you now about a particular type of mini beast called a mayfly, who are popular at this time of year. They spend several years in their larval stage, that means their baby stage, underwater. And then it emerges as what's called a subimago. I think that's how you pronounce it. And some species only exist in this is a kind of teenage state for them, the subimago stage, for about 10 minutes. And then they become the mature imago. They become a mature fly. And these mayflies, they actually only live, you can see some illustrations of them there, they only live for about an hour. They come out at this time of year, but they're so special, they only live for about an hour. Is that unusual? We spent all of May lifting the dead weight of stones, removing the roots of tree stumps, to encourage wildlife into our garden. You could only dig so much of the pond before the pain drowned you. I could only shovel so much dirt alone. When the pain was too deep, you watched from beneath the windows as I dug till my hands bled, laid the rubber liner like a shroud and edged it in stone. It took a couple of years for life to find our watery pit. It was a mournful May evening, but I sat alone in the garden, fingertips playing with my newly emerged stubble, that the first mayflies arose, pulling themselves like memories out of the pond's eye, clambering from the tear well. wearing their pubescent wings. Puberty is mere minutes for them, spent sunning on a rock rather than crushed beneath it. They're quick to shed their awkwardness. The dead pond I couldn't bring myself to fill in explodes into an exultation of fairy dust and angel light, of dancing tears and sparkling goodbyes as wild life fills the hole we dug together. And there you can see all of the flies just emerging all at once from where they'd built a pond together. I like that poem, it puts lots of pictures in my head. My favourite bit was when the mayflies arise and they pull themselves like memories out of the pond's eye. That really puts a lovely picture in my head. So I've had my few minutes out and about in nature now with Olivia and Casper. Time to go back and catch up with everybody else, I think. Okay, so let's all try and get out and enjoy nature as much as we can over the next week or so, because we know how good that is for our mental health. I'm going to end assembly with a prayer today, so if you could all please take it seriously and bow your heads, and at the end you can sensibly say Amen if you'd like to join in. Thank you for all the inspiring and wonderful things around us in the natural world. Help us to remember to take the time to appreciate what we can see, and to remember how lucky we are to live in a place where we have the sea to visit, and the beaches, and the woods and the forests. Remind us how important it is to take our time to enjoy those moments, to remind us that those things are even more important than some of those things that keep us busy every day. Amen. Thank you for listening to my assembly today, everybody. Look forward to checking in with your learning, everybody. And this week, you're going to have quite a few visitors to your classroom over the week. Please be prepared, everybody, when a grown-up talks to you, to say what you've been learning, what you're learning today, why it's important, why you're learning it. And we look forward to speaking about that all week. See you later.